Aloha mai kako, a komo mai to Curtain Call, a weekly program of reviews, previews, interviews, and features of and or with the great art and artists on Maui and beyond. I'm Paul James Brown. King Kekaulike Drama, featuring the Period 5 Intermediate and Advanced Acting class, produced Steven Fendrich's Yearbook. If there was ever a serious play that was written for high schools, this is it. Mr. Fendrich, who we are told by King Kekaulike's drama director Chris Kepler lived near Columbine, directs the audience not to applaud between scenes, to hold applause until the intermission and the conclusion of the play. What is more memorable for all of us than our high school yearbook? How often do you return to those photos and read what your classmates thought of you? Look nostalgically at the one who got away, or the one that never was, or for some, the one. Those silly moments and moments of triumph, the victories. The yearbook celebrates only those moments of joy, elation, and completion. But this play looks beyond those moments to show what led up to them, what came before, the truth that the yearbooks often refuse to admit occurred. Told in 19 scenes, many of them open with quotes from authors as varied as Diana Nyad, to Robert Frost, to Dan Rather, and Thomas Edison. It begins with solo moments of students in frames identifying themselves: the yearbook photographer, Susan, Betty Russo; the choruser, the Honor Society; the yearbook editor, Beth, Faith Harriman. It is the end of the year, and Beth and Susan are struggling taking delivery of the yearbook. They strike a deal with Jack, Roland Foland, and Eric, Mello Heinrich, carry the books, and they can get a sneak peek at the yearbook for an hour. They are elated at their good fortune, and therefore begins our journey into the previous year's adventures as they gather around to go over the prior year's memories. We open with a drama club led by Jolie Ryan as an ardent, committed, impassioned teacher trying to get her students to audition for Romeo and Juliet. Juliet, Madison Cordero, is totally on it, but Romeo, Tennyson Dorset, is, shall we say, having a difficult time with the bard until he has a breakthrough. Then Avery Tanaka tells us a touching story about her first and favorite Valentine she received from Chase and Ampon. This touches on first love and love lost at once. Freya Myers-Arno believes there is a locker with magical powers, and she shares this belief with Avi Niemi and Ms. Tanaka, who are skeptical until Ms. Myers-Arno contacts the locker and materializes the boy of her dreams, Phoenix Gottel, who asks her to the prom, to the astonishment of the others. Ethan Ida wants to make his dad, Kaiku Ferreira, proud of him as he leads his team to victory in the state basketball championships. But when given the opportunity for victory, he fails. Distraught at the disappointment and dishonor he has bestowed upon his dad, he is amazed when his dad congratulates him for his outstanding effort. The side stages of the Performing Arts Center consistently provide intimate playing areas for the King K drama students, and now the audience's attention shifted to them. Lola Maselli ends up at the ER with her friend Ms. Myers-Arno, who tries to tell Ms. Maselli getting beaten up by her boyfriend is not her fault, and it is not something she needs to tolerate. Ms. Myers-Arno counsels her and hopes she will not have a worse experience. The scene ends with her trying to find out the condition of Ms. Maselli, who is back in the ER, this time for the last time. Next, the wailing of an infant comes on as the follow spot picks up Miss Cordero as a 16-year-old mom who wanted a child, but now that she has one and the father has abandoned her, she is not so certain. Miss Ryan transforms into a student who is experiencing the breakup of her parents and the turmoil it causes in the brown chair that is her refuge and protection. Tykes for Trikes is the annual fundraiser. This year, Ms. Maselli is the host. She has completely transformed herself into the hostess with the mostest as she introduces the contestants, narrates the race, and awards the first prize. The first act concludes with a hilarious nightmare of a driving test with Ms. Harriman as the trepidatious student driver and Master Gottel as her werewolf instructor and adjudicator. The second act opens with Ms. Niemi, they Heinrich, Ms. Spring, Master Folland, and ABCDE Alapai Hashimoto mourning the loss of a fellow student and a serious discussion of suicide. Jock block is another nightmare when Bella Collins is forced to face up to her fears of photographing the notorious no non-jock trespassing area of the school. She imagines the worst in a nightmare, but to her surprise, the jocks are not only normal, but likable and cooperative. Just for the Halibut is an exploration of the class clowns. Masters Ida, Dorset, Cash Aspie, and Noah Sicking Kendrick have ridiculous costumes as they intone some of the worst puns ever, while Master Ampong attempts to photo them for the yearbook. Isaiah Welling Krebs is saddled with the task of capturing the chess club. Just as Miss Collins found out about the jocks, his preconceived notions about who the chess club is made up of are also unfounded, and he is in for a revelation as he captures them for the yearbook. Failing has Master Dorset playing a teacher who is trying to encourage a failing student, played by Bill Richards. Master Bisa has been on stage for most of his life, so his tour de force revelation in Playtime was most truthful. His character decides after everything that could go wrong on stage does, he is going to be an actor. Finally, the penultimate scene is entitled Columbine. When I saw it and heard what Mr. Kepler informed us at the beginning of the play regarding the playwright's proximity to that infamous place, I thought, oh, this is going to be intense. And it was. But not as I expected. Turns out they were talking about the flower and its poetic inspiration for one of their classmates who passed in an accident. At the end of the play, the entire cast recites it. A meadow of bright columbine, by an ancient tree overhead Pacific doves are in the sky to see. Together in our minds, they set our minds. They set our hearts so free. I now have peace within my soul for eternity. The audience, who have obeyed the playwright's wishes, exploded with applause like a dam that can no longer contain an historic storm of rain. Mr. Kepler gave credit to his assistant, Atlas Flynn, who he said blocked the entire show, and they created not only the show's poster, but also the projections which served to set the scene so well throughout the show. The costumes, especially the trikes and halibut, were spectacular. This was another student effort by Ms. Russo and the rest of the cast. Everyone did great work in this show, delving deeply into the psyche of our youth. It was truly an ensemble effort and could not have been as successful without a total team effort. However, there were standout performances that must be singled out. These were students who had created two completely different characters. Top of the list is Jolie Ryan, who was the over-the-top go-for-it teacher in the drama club and became the introspective, frightened girl in Brown Chair. Then Lola Maselli's too, the battered girlfriend in Emergency Room, and Vanna White MC in Tykes for Trikes. There was Madison Cordero's Juliet in Drama Club, and then her pregnant 16-year-old in Baby. Finally, Tennyson Dorset's clueless, then inspired Romeo, and his sympathetic teacher in Failing. This was outstanding work by these young actors, stretching them, and they were up to the task. This was entirely a student effort. Mr. Kepler works very hard to empower his students to produce work that is all theirs. He is more like the rudder on the ship rather than the captain, not commanding, but ensuring they get to where they are going. Exceptional. Be sure to mark your calendars for their production of High School Musical, April 19th, 20th, 26th, 27th, and 28th. Also, get a glimpse of what to expect in the coming years as their beginning class produces their annual showcase on March 8th. One final thing. It would be great if the theater producers, both student and adult, could get together and coordinate calendars so shows aren't opening on the same night. When the late Jonathan Lehman was producing for Pro Arts, he would assiduously avoid opening on the same night as any other theater on the island. It would be great if the current batch of producers would take a page from his playbook. Another of my pet peeves. Well, that's Curtain Call for this week. Mahalo for joining me. I'm Paul James Brown. Maui strong. Ahui ho.